Hey, I want to welcome everybody to the Coaches in the Mouth. We've got Bray Cook here. The Mouth couldn't make it today. We were short notice. It's kind of a special edition. Big news, Bray. I know everybody will go back to our audience. I know everybody's expecting Houston Nut. We're going to drop that on Friday. They'll be ready to go, and it's a great podcast with Coach Nutt. But come in studio. I'm getting a phone call from you on Monday, and it starts going around that late breaking news that Jeff Conaway, a longtime head coach at Shiloh Christian, been very successful. Is leaving and going to Orlando, Florida, to First Academy. We're going to have him on in a few minutes. And
it's a big deal.
It is. I mean, kind of shocking. I mean, you look at Buck James leaving at Bryant. That's a shake. Big shake weight in 7A. With Jeff Conaway, they were state runners up last year in 5A, a league that you play in.
Oh yeah,
that's a big shake up, and we'll see what they'll do about their head coach. Your thoughts? You play in the league, known Coach Conaway and their program for a long time. You live right there by it. Talk to us what your thoughts are.
Well, I mean, it's easy to see the success that they've had there, right? And you look at some of the stuff they're doing there with their programs, with their facilities, that new indoor that they're building right now, new football complex, and kind of where that program's headed. And it's just kind of a wild, why would you leave what's being built there? And they do such a good job with working with their younger sports. I mean, working kindergarten through 12th grade. I mean, you're a Shiloh Saint, and you're running his program. So definitely, it's a wild shock.
Well, it is, and there's a lot of factors that come in. We'll get to talk to Coach here in a few minutes. Is a lot of times it's where you're at in your career. It's financially, and where I'll talk to him about this is, Jeff Conaway is born and raised in Arkansas. I mean, at the end of the day, he went to school in Greene County Tech in Paragould, was head coach there, was assistant at Shiloh, and obviously the head coach, and had a lot of success. Making that jump, taking your family and moving all the way to Orlando, Florida, it looks like a great opportunity. And there's things that we don't know, and we'll ask about, the financial situation, the setup there,
Sure.
Just what I've found out about the program. Hadn't been around real long. I believe they were conference runner-up last year. Don't know much about the program. Hadn't been around very long. So those are a lot of questions we want to ask him when we get him on here in a few minutes. But just to shake up the time, we're sitting here, what, about 2 weeks from dead period.
For Coach, a week from today, I'm planning my vacation. I mean, it's time for 2 weeks to sit back and relax. And I feel like if you're Shiloh, you got to hit the throttle here pretty quick.
Well, they're gonna have to, and I really appreciate Coach Conaway coming on here in a few minutes. Is he sent me? He's in Orlando, Florida. I flew out last night. He sent me his schedule, and he has been tied up. I mean, from the time he landed all day long, and I think his last meetings today will be 6 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock our time, and we'll look forward to bringing him on. So, well, let's get ready to bring him on.
Come on.
We'd like to welcome in our guest. Me and Bray were just sitting here discussing your situation. Our guest, state champion Jeff Conaway. Big news, breaking news on Monday. You leaving and going to First Academy in Orlando, Florida. And let's just not cut to the chase. Is Orlando, Florida. You're born and raised in Arkansas, been your whole life, coached in this state. How did all this come about? It was real shocking news. Just talk to us about the process.
The head of school, Steve Whitaker, reached out to me a couple of weeks ago, and it was really we would love for you to give us some ideas on who the perfect candidate is for a private Christian school to prepare young men to be warriors on the field and gentlemen off the field. And I told him that I was not interested because I was at Shiloh, and Shiloh is a fantastic place to coach and to raise a family. So he convinced me to hop on a plane and fly down and take a look. And I didn't have anything going on that weekend. I was actually looking to get out of the house for a couple of different reasons. My family.
No, not during the summer.
Yeah, exactly. My family was going to be out of town, and I was like, man, I'll just take a look. And I did. And when I began to investigate the program, the church, the administration, the players, I thought I can see myself here. And I just felt like as time went on, it was really unique because I felt like God continued to open the doors that meant the most to me and my family. And I felt like there was this nudge and this calling that was so strong. It was so evident. And we began to pray. And I believe God gave us a peace. I believe God gave us a calling. And I believe we were challenged to choose the comfort of the life that we were living or the calling that God had for us. And I don't know that God really gave me a decision to make. I think he pretty much said, it's time for you to go. At least that's how I feel. I could be totally wrong. It may have been heartburn that I was feeling. I don't know. But we feel like we made a godly decision based on where he wanted us to do ministry. Ministry is a huge part of my career, and it's not all about football. I left a really good football program for a football program that's not great yet, but I believe it's going to have a lot of great days ahead.
Well, talk to us about this school. I mean, I researched it before we came on air a little bit last night at the First Academy, and obviously it's a huge church there in Orlando, and just looks like the program hadn't been around real long. They had a little success last year. Talk to me about the program that you're going into, and on the second part of it is, do you do is it built kind of like the Shiloh situation? Do you come in and do the same things, or do you change some things? Which any job you do, but talk to us about the job that you're going into.
I think there are so many similarities to TFA and Shiloh Christian. Some of those similarities were almost scary how similar they were. The foundation at this particular school is built. They've got incredible administrators that are willing to do what it takes to win. You guys are both coaches. You know that Rick Jones used to say this to me often: don't chase athletes, chase administrators, because if you've got the right administration, they're going to take care of you. They're going to put you in a position to be successful. And what does that do? That creates an attraction. And eventually, athletes are going to want to be a part of that, whether they're already at the school or maybe they're not at your school. They're going to see you're doing it and you're doing it the right way. And I want to go be a part of that. And that's what I saw from the very beginning. And I believe they're ready and willing to really put their money where their mouth is. They're saying things like, we want to be a state championship program, and here's what we're willing to do. And so the similarities were there, but I think one of the most attractive pieces to this is, like you said earlier, Orlando. There are athletes in Orlando, and Florida's a little different than Arkansas. You got some athletes in this area that maybe in certain places in Arkansas don't exist, and so that was attractive to me. I talked to Gus on the phone, and he says, he lives down here in Orlando, and his words to me were, you shouldn't have any problem having athletes. And so those things are, as a coach, those are intriguing. And I don't know how it's going to go, but I feel confident that we can do things the right way and produce a good product on the field.
Well, you just went into it. Orlando, Florida probably has more D1 athletes than the whole state of Arkansas. I mean, just that state, obviously, back in the day, it was, recruit Texas, recruit Louisiana. Now, Florida's probably overly recruited as any state as there is. Talk to me about this just a little bit. I talked about it. You're grew up in Paragould, Arkansas, graduated from Greene County Tech, lived in Northwest Arkansas with your family. And this is kind of behind the scenes, and we talked to Buck James about it, and he's just moving 30 or 40 miles down the road. You're moving, hours and hours away. You had to jump on a plane, and I, like I said, got to see your schedule, what you've been through today and the next couple of days is unbelievable, and we appreciate your time. How's it? Talk to our audience about picking up and moving. I think it is how it affects your family, how your family's got to be bought into it, and especially a big change like this where you're moving away from grandparents, you're moving away from family. Talk to me about that decision, that talk, if you don't mind, and how do you adjust that and how your family does?
Well, TFA did a fantastic job through the interviewing process. They interviewed me first, sent me back home, and I was their guy, but they did not want to hire me until they could get my wife and my three kids on campus and actually interview and show them the campus as well. And so they were able to meet the principals, they were able to meet the administration, see the classrooms, talk to the coaches, and that spoke highly of the administration here at TFA. They wanted to make sure that we were a package deal and that everybody was good with the move. And so that was powerful for me. My wife and my kids were excited about it. They they got excited about living in Orlando, and they were excited about the individuals that they met and the campus that they saw. So if you move from Bryant to Conway, that's one thing. Moving from Springdale to Orlando is totally different, and it really did take everybody saying, "Yes, Dad, I'm in. I believe this is the right move. Let's do it. Let's grow closer as a family, and let's go experience something." I'm 42 years old. I know that's not terribly old, but I'm a lot older than Bray, and I want I kind of just wanted to experience something new, something fresh. I wanted a new challenge. Eventually, I'd love to coach at the collegiate level. And I don't know that taking this job hurts in that area. I think with all of the universities that are in this state in Florida, with the athletes that are here, I feel like that could potentially be a resource for me, an opportunity for me to grow as a coach and potentially have an opportunity at the collegiate level if that ever presents itself. It may not, but I feel like it's a good strong move in that direction.
Well, and thing you brought up Rick Jones and earlier about, and everybody goes to Rick Jones a lot for advice, but you got to focus on the job that you're at. You know what I'm saying? And those things happen if you do a good job. Let's go back. Let's talk about your time at Shiloh a little bit. Obviously you were there as assistant. You spent 13 years there. You were an assistant, then head coach, obviously, and in between there at Greene County Tech. Won a state championship in 2020. You've been at least in the semifinals the last 4 years here with that program. Jumping from, you've seen it from 3A to 4A, and then jumping to classifications last year in 5A, losing the state finals to Little Rock Parkview, who had an outstanding team. Reflect back at your time and what you take from your time at Shiloh and how you take it into your next job and just some of the highlights there. Obviously state championships, but the relationships that you had a great staff there. I know a lot of your staff there, good guys, great coaches. Talk to us a little bit about your time there and what you're going to miss, obviously, relationships, things like that. But talk to us about your time and what you enjoyed there, just reflecting back.
Everything at Shiloh, I was madly in love with. I loved my coaching staff, and we worked really hard to hire coaches that were in alignment with our mission. Our mission at Shiloh was to develop champions spiritually, academically, socially, and athletically. And we found guys that would get on that same page and they would work their tails off. We called our coaching staff the Navy SEALs of high school football because there wasn't a task too big or small for those guys. They would show up at any time, they would go home at any time. They were great husbands, they were great fathers, they were great coaches. They did everything extremely well. I didn't have to do a whole lot because we were so good with who we hired. That made it really special. And we grew together. We went through discipleship programs together. So when you grow with a coach spiritually and you walk through life through the good and the bad, there's a bond that is formed. And leaving was the most difficult thing that I've done in my 20-year coaching career because I had a great bond with those coaches. I had a great bond with the parents. I had a great bond with the players and the administration, and I cried all day long yesterday. I'm dehydrated today because I lost so much fluid yesterday, and it was tough. There's a part of my heart, obviously, that's still there, and probably always will be. I don't know that I'll truly ever recover from having to leave a great place like Shiloh. In the back of my mind, I may always wonder, did I make the right move? But again, I'm trusting. I'm trusting the Lord. I don't think He gave me an option, but I'm certainly going to miss Shiloh, and I know they're going to do well. When you build it the right way, it's one stone removed, it's another stone put in, and the building doesn't fall. It is a well-oiled machine. It's healthier than it's ever been. The coaching staff's great. The players are great. They got a $7 million indoor facility that's going to be better than any facility in the state of Arkansas. And so the future is really, really bright for Shiloh Christian. They probably won't miss me after this week.
No, I know. Well, and I understand it because I've left jobs in different places, and I understand where you leave a piece behind there. You're always checking the scores on Friday. You're keeping up with the people there, and when you put as much time and years that you have into that place, there's always going to be a special bond. But Coach Cook's got a couple of questions for you, and I know you've been busy, and we'll get you off here.
Yeah. Well, Coach, thanks for joining us. And I want to follow up with everything you just said about Shiloh with a question about how are we going to beat them next year? You got any advice for me going into next season, Coach?
You're not.
Oh,
no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Every week, that's why I love football. Anybody can beat anybody. And we always felt that way at Shiloh. We could lose to anybody because it's a game that you have to earn January through August, Monday through Thursday. I mean, you have to earn it, and you can't just show up and play. And that's something I'm most proud of about the work that we did at Shiloh. Some people think that we could just show up and out athlete everybody. That's not true. We had to train really, really hard. We had to prepare really, really hard to play as well as we did. And there were a lot of games that we won big that I would get our guys on a knee and I would say, guys, don't ever believe that was easy. We sweated, we bled, we cried, we worked to beat people the way that we beat them. And you need to be proud of that. Don't let mom and dad tell you, oh, that team wasn't any good. No, that's bull. They were good, but you were better because you outworked them. You outprepared yourself. And to me, that's what makes Shiloh great. I think it's that type of mentality of let's go be the absolute best we can be every night. Doesn't matter if we're playing Parkview or someone that's not ever won a state or conference championship. We were going to approach every week the same.
Well, there's no doubt. Keep going, bro.
And obviously that the goal is to build that where where you're headed next. What's your first steps where you're going next?
First steps today, I'm getting acclimated. I'm doing my best to build relationships with everyone from the media team to the HR department to the assistant coaches to the players to the parents. We had a meeting this morning where I got to spend time with the coaching staff. I'm spending time with the players. I'm going out to dinner with a couple of boosters tonight, and there's so much to do. There's so many things that I need to check off the list, but I'm trying to just enjoy it. I'm trying not to rush that. I don't want to get sloppy with my efficiency. I want to be very thorough with anybody and everybody that wants to meet me. I want them to get to know me, and I want to get to know them, and I want to be a strong relationship inside this community and inside this school. And that takes time. It doesn't happen quickly. You got to be willing to do the hard things early, and I hope that I'm going to do those things well as I can. But man, there's a whole long list of things that we got to do, and we don't have a whole lot of time to do them. We got 10 weeks before we kick off, and tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. I'm going to install our first offensive play and hope that I hope that everybody can pick it up quickly.
Last question I got for you, Coach. We obviously with some movement with the reshuffling of the conferences, a couple of our schools that were our non-con games will be in our conference with Huntsville and Gravette in the next cycle. Do you have an open week 2025? I wouldn't mind taking the team down to Orlando.
Right, let's make that happen. I'll get you Disney passes, and we'll make a weekend out of it.
Hey, week 1 we'll be there.
Just charter it up and take off.
Come on.
Go to Disney World also.
Yes.
Hey, how much money is that going to cost you living in Orlando going to Disney World all the time?
I feel like I should have negotiated that in the contract.
Yeah. Season pass and fast pass all the time. Well, Coach, we appreciate it. Really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule.
Yes, sir.
Wanted to get you on here. We're going to get this out pretty fast, and just like I said, you sent me that schedule last night. I was like, Lord, I don't know how we're going to work him in, and taking time, and good luck to you. We're going to keep up with you, and we'd love to have you on later on during football season. We'll come bring you back on, check your work a little bit.
Well, I appreciate that, Jeff. Thank you for your friendship over the years. Man, I loved your dad. I love you. You guys have always been super friendly and cordial to me, and getting to work with you and against you has been an honor. And Bray, man, I will miss playing Pea Ridge, and I'll miss shaking your hand before the games and those talks that we had. And certainly will always be an Arkansas boy. And who knows, maybe I can end my career in Arkansas one day.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. Good luck to you. We'll see you down the road. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.
Boy, Ray,
Yep.
what did you think about that? I mean, just listening to him, and what a big change for him. I mean, going from Springdale, Arkansas to Orlando, but seems like
Florida.
his heart's in the right place, and seems like a great situation for him.
Yeah, the coolest part of that interview to me was that they didn't offer him a job until they had the family come in.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. I mean, we're going to make sure that you're completely buying into the future of this program, and that involves your family, obviously. So their admin seem like their hearts are in the right place, and obviously Jeff's had a ton of success here. So he's got the recipe, and it'll be fun to watch him put that into place down in Orlando, Florida.
Well, and I feel like Jeff's done a great job at Shiloh. He's done a great job where he was at as far as building a program. I mean, from top to bottom, and he'll have a lot of success there. Well, we're going to sign off. I appreciate Bray you being here. The Mouth will be back with us. Missed him today, but he'll be back with us. We got him out on assignment.
Yeah,
he's
on
out
the road
right now, chasing team camps at 7-on-7. Look forward to our next episode with Houston Nutt. Going to drop that on Friday at 4:00. Everybody, make sure when you watch our show, if you like it, hit like and subscribe, and that helps us, build our brand, build our platform. But make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button. We look forward to dropping Houston Nutt. We got a lot of guests lined up for you the rest of the year, and look forward to it. This is Jeff Williams signing off. For Coaches in the Mouth, Bray Cook. See you soon.
Adios.